I think that's a bit premature, John, to say that Tennessee has caught Alabama in terms of talent, but I think we have to readjust with the way we look at talent. This is not 1 to 85 anymore. This is 1 to about 35 or 40. And I think that's doable nearly on an annual basis, maybe 2 years at the most.
Well, Alabama's depth of talent is what separated it from so many programs, and it's hard to maintain that kind of depth in the transfer portal era. Georgia's doing it probably as well as anybody. So is Ohio State. But I thought that was a huge loss for Alabama and a very significant one with Caleb Downs transferring to Ohio State. Wow. I mean, that's like, yeah, I think Ohio State would be an upgrade for me. And I'm sure he got plenty of money. But it's just the idea that somebody would leave Alabama for anywhere, I thought was very telling. When I look at Tennessee's talent level, I would still say, yeah, Alabama, and this is based on, I'm not staring at the depth chart and saying this guy's better than that guy. Alabama's just history on defense. I think Alabama will have more talent on defense than Tennessee. That's not a stretch at all. But I think offensively, I'm not, when you look at the starters, I don't know that Alabama's as talented as Tennessee. Now, part of that is because I believe Nico will be a star player, that he can match up with Jalen Milroe. Alabama's running backs, they have some young guys that might step up this year, but they're just okay. They're not elite running backs from their experienced guys. So wide receivers, Tennessee's wide receivers can play with them in a real significant factor too, offensive line. Alabama's offensive lines just haven't been that great lately, and I think Tennessee's got a lot of experience coming back.
It could be a team strength. It went from 6 weeks ago to like, that could be an issue, to now with what they brought in with Hurd and Cooper staying. That's a team strength. Caleb, I want to get your thoughts on that as well. Portions of the program brought to you by our good friends at the Hemp House, the premier hemp dispensary online with a wide variety, great selection, and strict standards to ensure you only receive the best in CBD or Delta products. Hemp House Chat with 2Ts.com. Hemp House Chat with 2Ts.com. Did I just hear what I thought I heard? And that was John Adams saying that Tennessee's starting talent might be as good or better than Alabama's.
That's crazy.
Caleb?
Well, let's put that in, quote me correctly on that.
Okay.
I said offense.
I would never misparaphrase somebody.
Okay, John said offense. Okay.
I said offense.
I think we are now in an era where college football, I don't want to say Tennessee's starting talent is better than Alabama's on offense if you look at like who's going to have more more NFL success. But I do think we're in an era where college football is very much like college basketball, guys. Every single year for the past 15 years, John Calipari's had the most talented team in college basketball. If you looked at who's going to the NBA, that doesn't mean that his starting five was better than other teams' starting five, though, because they were freshmen, they weren't experienced, there wasn't a lot of chemistry. That's why he's only got one national championship and I think twice as many NBA draft picks as every other coach in the history of college basketball. I mean, it's an insane stat. So I think we're getting that way with college football where, do I think there's more talent on Alabama's offense than Tennessee's? Yes. But do I think Tennessee's starters as a cohesive unit are better than Alabama's? Yes, because I think now chemistry is outweighing things. And
with Nico.
With Nico, yes. Okay. Chemistry is outweighing things. And you saw this, by the way, with Michigan's national title. I don't know if you guys, Dave, I told you, John, I don't know if you know this. Michigan last year with their NIL collective decided, let's pour all our efforts into keeping this team together that we just built that just went to the playoff. And they did that. And that's why they beat Alabama, because they were the more disciplined team in that game.
Okay, but let me ask you this. We could debate this year, and we're going to see this year in just a few short months. But as for the DeBoer future, John, I'll go ahead and share with you. I've shared off the air. I'm impressed with what he's done to this point in his career. I think that any coach would fail in this type of scenario. I don't think that Alabama is equipped to pay NIL as they should be because of the Saban discount. I just think this is a perfect storm of disaster. And Kalen DeBoer may go on to win a national championship somewhere else, but I don't think it's going to work out at Alabama. You, however, like the hire from talking to you earlier, and you said that was a pretty good hire. What are your thoughts?
I think it was a pretty good hire. It's not a Saban-like hire. Alabama had the best of both worlds when it had Nick Saban. Alabama can recruit to its tradition and its history, but other players went. Not everybody went to Alabama because it's Alabama. Some of them went to Alabama because of Nick Saban. His status, his stature. I just think that was a factor. So I think that's one of the reasons for success at Ole Miss right now. I think players go to Ole Miss because of Lane Kiffin. Now, he doesn't have the same program that he would at Alabama, but I think he attracts a lot of players. Just his reputation. I think he's fun to play for. But I think with Nick Saban, you had a guy, he had a really good track record with players. And I think former players really helped sell recruits on Alabama and on what Nick Saban could do for them. So it wasn't just Alabama. It's Nick. I don't think in this transitional period you can do that as well. So even though I like Caleb's a hire, I don't expect him to do what Nick Saban did. I think Alabama will be good, but it won't be a dynasty.
So,
Caleb, let me turn this on you. So if I put the championships on 0, 1, or multiple, where would you put it?
I'm at 0 for the NIL, and because I'm not as high on Kalen DeBoer, I want to ask you guys this question. Let's go with like 4 options here, almost poll question style. But Alabama will enter a slow decline. They will decline immediately. I mean, like, just be bad this year, and like
What's bad?
Yeah, what's a decline? I mean, yeah, what's bad?
Okay, Alabama will enter a slow decline, meaning like we're saying like maybe 9 or 10 wins this year, and then 6 or 7 in the year after, a couple of years down the road.
Okay, but as far as this year, your question, they're in the hunt for the college football playoff. They're in that discussion at the end of December.
They're in the hunt. Yes. They're in the hunt this year. That's one option. Another option is they're not even in the hunt this year, and then they just collapse. Another option is they're not in the hunt.
DeBoer is no longer with us.
I'm sorry?
Mass riot. Kalen DeBoer is no longer with us.
No. Third option is that Alabama's not in it this year, but they actually have a comeback in the next couple of years when Kalen DeBoer gets his players in his program rolling. I don't think that's likely, but I'm just saying, throwing that possibility. Or fourth, they just maintain what they've been doing.
I think it's like my wife does with the air fryer. She can cook a steak better than me. It's going to be a slow burn to mediocrity, just like she cooks my steaks. And I think that you're going to see it this year where they're going to be in the hunt, and Alabama fans are going to be like, oh, it's okay. We're good here. And they're going to be at around 9 wins. And then I think it's going to slowly go downhill. John, if I made you predict.
Well, I think what Caleb said, I think Kalen DeBoer needs to get established there in what he does with his offensive system. And I think he can recruit to that. I'm not sure Alabama will be in the playoff hunt this year.
Oh, so you think this could be an immediate drop off?
Yeah, but I still think it could be better, perhaps better than you guys are saying long term.
Okay.
So that's the option I gave you. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think this season, when I look at Alabama's talent and I look at Ole Miss's talent, and I look at Tennessee. Does Alabama play Texas again, or does it play Oklahoma? I've forgotten. Anyway, I just think,
John, it begs the question: while Caleb's looking that up, would Tennessee fans rather see Lane Kiffin win or Alabama lose?
They play Oklahoma, by the way.
Okay. I mean, that could be a tough game too for Alabama. I just think if you had the SEC West, forget about Oklahoma and Texas, forget about non-divisional, just one giant conference as we have now. If they had the West, I mean, I would say, to me, Alabama could finish third. I would favor Ole Miss to win that division.
Do you get the feeling? I hate it when people say, fans say this, because you could say that about anything, right? Fans say the sky is red today and there's meteors falling. It's Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden all over again. Mass chaos, dogs and cats living together. You could say fans say anything. But I hear media types, and I'm not talking about you, John. I respect your opinion. But just that think this Kalen DeBoer thing is going to be a naturally good hire, that even the most educated Alabama fan says, no, I'm not expecting 7 championships, but at least 2 or 3. I mean, it just feels like that one is a given for this guy, is the perception. I mean, one's pretty damn hard. I mean, I hate to tell everybody this, but it's not easy to win a national championship.
I really think this could be quite comparable. And it goes back to just the history of sports. Replacing a legend is extraordinarily difficult, and it usually doesn't go well.
No.
You can take any sport, and that's not an unfavorable assessment of Kalen DeBoer. I just think that's universal. I think the Alabama could become, under Kalen DeBoer, what it was under Gene Stallings. He won 1 national championship. He had a great defense in 1992. It wasn't the competition wasn't strong, favorable schedule, and he won that national title by beating a Miami team that was probably overrated. I could see that happening, but it would be harder in the playoff era. So, yeah, he might. I'm not ruling out he could win a national championship there, but I just think Alabama, what it hopes for is to have a good program, contend for championships right now. I don't think you just don't pick up where you left off when you lose a Nick Saban. It just doesn't happen. It didn't happen when you lost Bear Bryant. It won't happen now.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, Dave, my cats and dogs got along great, so you might want to clip that from your scenario.
Sorry about that. Caleb, Caleb, that's my thing. If you're Alabama, you just don't want to slip to Billy Napier, Florida, is my goal.
Yeah, I think I think the concept of following a legend has to do is very. I'm just sorry, I disagree with you two. I think it just has a lot to do with. I think we as humans subconsciously create patterns out of things. That's why people believe in zodiac signs or horoscopes or whatever. And I think the following a legend thing is us creating a fake pattern. I think the truth of the matter is most coaching hires fail. Period. They just seem to be more magnified when they follow a legend.
Like there are more 3 stars in the Super Bowl than there are 5-star prospects, because there's more.
Exactly. There's more 3 stars in general. Yeah. So they're like, oh, this is proof that recruiting rankings don't mean anything. No, they still mean a lot. So yeah, I never really bought into the following a legend. Now, I think that there could be factors because a coach is following a legend that messes things up, i.e., I think the problem with Alabama, Bear Bryant was such a legend. Alabama thought that they could hire anybody who, touched Bear Bryant's pants, was qualified to be a head coach at Alabama for 20 years.
That's good news for his secretary.
I don't think Bear Bryant would let people touch his pants.
Bear Bryant, I'm sorry. I'm going to fashion police him. He could have matched that houndstooth hat better with some of the outfits he wore. He could have.
Way to get him.
But,
spinning in his grave. And
Homeboy was clearly on some of the sauce when he was trying to figure out how to match the hat with the jacket a couple of times.
I think he was clearly on some of the sauce when he went to kindergarten.